Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Bermuda Run Town Council meeting for June the 14th, 2022. It is now 6 p.m., so I will call this meeting to order and welcome everyone. Happy Flag Day, and hope everybody, as you came in, you were able to see all the work that's being done on our wonderful Blue Heron Trail. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But work is being done. Also notice that we have a couple of cameras here this evening, so we are testing out. We will be recording this and then at a later time posting on our YouTube, the town's YouTube site, which we will make sure everybody is aware of as we go. Next order of business is please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As you know, we open our town council meetings with a reflective moment of silence. In these days, with all that we're enduring across our world, our country, and our community, it's important to consider what we all must do as individuals and as a collective body for the greater good. As elected leaders, we're devoted to our positions and take seriously our responsibilities to honor and to serve. We know that we are entrusted to work on behalf of everyone across this community, a community for which we are deeply proud and thankful. As such, we resolve to do more, to listen, and to act for the greater good of our community. It's the desire of this town council to honor these proceedings and the business brought before this governing body and to offer the opportunity for a reflective moment of silence. So please join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Moving on, item 4 on this evening's agenda is the adoption of said agenda. Everybody's had an opportunity to look through the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have an agenda. Thank you. Item 5, the approval of May 10, 2022 Town Council meeting minutes. The council has had an opportunity to review those meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we approved as written.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 6, citizens' comments. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. No one signed up to speak tonight.
All right.
I did.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the council this evening? All right. Moving on. Item 7, proposed action items. Item 7A, a public hearing of the recommended Town of Bermuda Run 2022-2023 budget. Mr. Rollins.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to go over with the council what we started on back in January in our planning sessions and have sort of worked through and discussed all along. I will note for the record that this public hearing was duly advertised and was placed on our town website, also placed in our constant contact communication. A hard copy was made available here on file with the town as well, just as we have in the past. In the agenda packet, I did provide you a cover letter. So for those that are in the audience, the Town of Bermuda Run has 3 funds. There's a general fund, which think of encompasses the whole town and the business community and the residential community within it. That general fund primarily provides funding from property tax revenues, and then also subsequent state revenues like solid waste, sales tax that's allocated to the county and then to the town. And then the Town of Bermuda Run is also part of the Triad Alcoholic Beverage Commission, and we receive revenues from that as well. The second fund that we have is the Gate Operations Fund. That Gate Operations Fund is funded solely for those parcel owners within the gated section, within the original section of Bermuda Run Country Club and in Bermuda Run West. And that's a line item on their tax bill where those monies help pay for our contracting with Allied Universal for gate attendants at each of the 3 gates, for upkeeps of those gatehouses. Again, those revenues come solely from those residents that benefit directly from it within the gated community. The third fund is the utility fund. The town of Bermuda Run assumed from the Bermuda Run Sanitary District a small wastewater treatment plant that is in the gated section that serves residents from 158 to 801. Those sewer fees are collected by the county and then provided to the town as part of that utilities fund. And again, only those residents who utilize that sewer service pay into that utility fund. So tonight, I am presenting to you what I would suggest as an amended budget from my original request, specifically to the general fund. And that is premised on late additional revenues that we've received in trend lines, in particular with the ABC revenue funds, and then also to provide some flexibility for council and for the new manager regarding Powell bill monies. Powell bill are monies that are allocated to municipalities from DOT for town-maintained streets. Okay, there are roughly 21 miles of town-maintained streets. Those streets that are eligible for that NCDOT money, Powell bill, that's allocated to towns, there's about 14, a little over 14 miles that's allocated to that. We have about $300,000 in fund balance for Powell bill, okay, that's unassigned. The DOT typically looks at saving up no more than 10 installments. So that's twice a year, that's 5 years. This is not where you have to do it, but again, it would be my recommendation that allows you to be able to utilize those monies for some projects that we're looking at in Kenderton Village and some paving that you're going to want to probably look at here in this Kenderton commercial area. Does that make sense? So what I am recommending to you is a balanced general fund budget at $2,193,860. You have been given, I think Council Member Brandon has referred to it as a checkbook. You've seen all the line items. You see a draft budget ordinance that puts that into segments to make it easier to manage. And then you have a gate operations fund that is requested balanced at $674,600. There were discussions several months ago with pressure on staffing and employment and inflation that you all, I think, made the correct decision in amending with Allied Universal to raise the rates for those gate attendants. So in order to do that, that requires changing or increasing the gate fee to what I had recommended to $551.34. There's roughly 1,074 parcels within that gate operations fund. And then, of course, when that was deeded over from Bermuda Run Country Club originally, the club as an entity pays up to 10% of the total annual expenditure. So that's where that money comes from. And then the utilities fund is balanced at $530,850. You have a separate capital project ordinance that you approved for decommissioning of our wastewater treatment plant, upgrading our pump station, and then in concert with Davie County Utilities, taking that waste to the Northeast Davie pump station. So that's why it doesn't show up here. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll open to questions from council. If you want to open the public hearing and then ask for questions later, whatever you'd like to do.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Rollins before I open the public hearing? Yes. Okay. Yes. Ms. Coleman.
Yes, when was the last increase that we had for the gate attendant?
2 years ago.
Just 2? Okay. A 16% increase is very good. I mean, that's pretty realistic. And I feel like we took the minimal route in a way that I feel like, just to be honest, in the future, we may have to do more.
You very well may with the inflationary pressures we're all experiencing.
I am definitely learning that in my business. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say on the same line, I went out and, I would also say, I would also say that I went out on the website Indeed and just did some searching around Bermuda Run and Clemens, and needless to say, there are a significant number of open positions, and they are at or above 67% or at or above what we're talking about here. So it's hard enough to fill those positions, let alone try to retain those within our gate operations. So to me, and we talked about it earlier, right, it was essentially a no-brainer. This is something we've got to do. I think feedback I've heard from people about the gates and the quality of what's happening in the gates versus what we talked about or heard year and a half ago, vastly different, and I think that's directly attributable to the quality of staff that are at those gates, frankly.
Thank you. Anything else before I open the public hearing? All right, at this point, I will open the public hearing.
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
Williams.
no one has signed up to address the council at the public hearing.
Okay. Anybody want to address the council at this public hearing relative to the budget? No one? I will then close this public hearing. And at this point, I will ask the town council to take the appropriate action.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt the manager's recommended budget for the 22-23 budget year as defined in today's agenda.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a budget. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for that unanimous vote. Moving on, council comments. Actually, I'm going to start with Mr. Rollins. Mr. Rollins, your report?
I will let you know that for our residents in Kenderton Village, we're working with the contractor, now that you've approved the budget, we're working with a contractor to attempt to complete that emergency access easement from Rise by the middle of July, weather permitting, at worst case by the end of July, to be able to go ahead and get that all completed and in play. Mr. Meadwell and I met with John Gray, our town engineer, and with the contractor for the decommissioning of the wastewater treatment plant. We spoke with residents on either side of the drive that goes down to let them know, one, where the easement's located, and two, to also inform them as to what's going to take place over the course of the next 6 months or so. Those trees that line that little path will have to come down, and they know that. So I think we've done a pretty good job of giving them a heads up. That start date for that project is July the 25th. And then excited about our first concert Saturday evening. I thank Hillsdale Real Estate for co-sponsoring that, and then that may be something to move forward with to help offset the costs for those events. So 7 o'clock, June 18th.
Okay, great.
That's all that I have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Rollins?
You mentioned that the wastewater plant, about a 2-year project,
No, it's about 300 days.
300, okay.
We hope
Under a
it'll be
year.
done sooner than that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
can you say a little bit more about the time that we're needing to allow contractors, given kind of the state of things at this point?
It's a supply chain issue for everyone, and so with subcontractors and with materials. So for example, with the wastewater treatment plant project, we needed a new generator for the pump station. We originally had incorporated that generator as a line item into the bid process for the contractor. Well, we weren't quite ready to bid that out. There was a 6-month lead time. And so we went ahead and took that generator out and went ahead and paid for it. Then they would install it. Those are examples, and not unlike the Blue Heron Trail project. So the stop date, the completion date is July 4th of 23. We hope it'll be done before then, but quite candidly, with contractors, to give them some comfort level, we've had to extend those deadlines for completion to provide some leveling out, so that otherwise some contractors just wouldn't bid on it.
Okay, good, thank you. Council comments, Ms. Coleman.
Oh, okay. I'm excited for the new year. I know this is the new year for the town of Bermuda Run, but I'm also very sad to lose a very important part of our town, Mr. Rollins. It's going to be so missed. But I also welcome Mr. Andrew, and I know that he will do great things, but just know that you're the reason we're here. And you're one of the reasons I'm here, meaning I ran because I knew how wonderful of a town you ran and took care of and love. And so thank you for that. Thank you for just your love for our town. I know you're not far, so I know that you're within reaching distance if we need anything. I wish you and your family the best, and whoever gets you next, I wish, you the best. But thank you for everything. I don't want to crack it. I'm done.
Thank you. Mr. Brandon.
Well, I'll not repeat, but we'll have more opportunities to say thank you, but ditto. Thank you for everyone who participated in last month's workshop. We wound up, I think, nearly tripling the attendees, which is awesome. So thanks for everyone's attendance in that. That was fun to participate and talk to people and listen to people. And second, thank you for Davie County voters. Davie County accomplished a 31% primary voting rate against North Carolina state average of 19%. So that's pretty impressive to see nearly a third of the residents come out and vote across Davie County. So again, that's a measure of commitment for the county and participation. And then thank you for the election officials, as well as the volunteers who helped make that process pretty smooth. I know several of us came in here a few times in town hall and witnessed some of the activity, and it's a well-oiled machine that ran here, and it was neat to see it here, and also all those who participated in the actual election day event as well. And then lastly, just thanks for everyone who reaches out via email or text or whatever method, or catching us at the mail room or whatever it is. It's great to talk to people face to face in whatever method, and frankly, I feel like that's why we're here. So thank you for that. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Ms. Zelica, are you going to start out with introducing your young friend here, Mr. Sean?
I can certainly do that.
appreciate it.
Sean, if you don't mind standing. Everyone in the room this evening, if you haven't met him directly, this is Sean Lane. He is a Davie High School student in the STEM program, and he is actually a former first grade student of mine back in the day when I was teaching at Shady Grove. So we're delighted to have him here today, and he is shadowing me both as a real estate professional as well as being a town council member. So I welcome Sean and his mom, Jacqueline, today. Thank you so much, Sean. Appreciate you being here. I do want to take a moment, even though I do know that we'll have more opportunities to recognize Lee Rollins, but I do want to take a moment here at the meeting and just kind of echo Heather's comments and say that it is definitely one of the reasons why I chose to run for town council in the town of Bermuda Run, being very new to the community, was that I knew we had already had great leadership. And so that really does make our roles as the town council much smoother. And so we certainly do appreciate Mr. Rollins' years and years of work. And the budget that we looked at tonight is definitely an example of his thoroughness and just his dedication to our town. So again, thank you for that. And I also want to thank those of you who did come in this evening. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your love for the community and your involvement. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Capps.
I want to thank everybody for coming also, and Lee, what can I say? We've been through a lot together the last 2 or 3 years, and I never realized what a town manager really did until I have worked closely with Lee, and I can tell you, he takes a lot of heat off the rest of us. And I certainly appreciate it. And again, I'm sure this is not goodbye. I'm sure you'll be back, maybe not as a town manager, but as a friend. And like Heather, I'm not going to get any deeper. I'm afraid I might cry. So thank you all.
Well, thank you. I first want to thank you, Lee, for this budget. I was getting to that. Maybe a few more dollars in the budget for a sound system, but thanks for this your final budget, and for being such a steward for this town and a champion for this town and everything that it stands for. Like everybody that's sitting up here with me and certain folks out in the audience. We will have an opportunity to spend some time together between now and the time you leave. But for the record, I just want to say that the time that I have spent here as an elected representative has been made much more fruitful, much more productive, and much more meaningful because of you. So I will also move on from talking about Mr. Rollins. Good news, we've expanded the Davie County Library. We now have book lockers, right next door at the Davidson-Davie Community College Annex. And if you have a library card, you can go online and order a book, and it will be delivered right here. You'll get a note that gives you a number. You go put the number in, and out pops your book. So we had the opportunity to cut that ribbon week before last, I think, and I'm very excited. I've ordered my first book, so we'll see if I can figure out how to work it. As I said earlier, the Blue Heron Trail, making great progress on that. There is the bridge that will be over that gully, that culvert, whatever you want, that dip, should be coming in the next month or so. We're hoping. It's coming from North Dakota, I believe you said, yes. So it's coming a long way, but it will be it will be a great addition to the trail. And we're looking forward to the continuation of the development of that trail from the Kennerton Village Tunnel all the way down to 158, and then on to bigger and better things. I continue to want to make sure we keep everybody apprised of the progress at 801 and 158. I've put this in my recent communication. North Carolina Department of Transportation is looking at right-of-way acquisition later this year, later in the summer, moving utilities at that 801 and 158 intersection to increase that northbound lane. Utilities probably next February, with construction beginning on that additional lane coming in the spring, summer of next year. So we're very pleased with that progress. I will say, as I say in every communication, that does not cause us to throttle back one bit on our advocacy for continued improvement at all of our town and state maintained roads, inclusive of 801 and 158. I'll echo what Mr. Brannon said about the comprehensive plan. What a great session we had back on May 25th at Winmock. Thanks to everybody who came by. We had, I think, between 65 and 70 people. But more than that, more than the numbers, was the conversations we had, were the discussions that we had, were the suggestions that people made, and the learning that was that went throughout that room for that 7 hours that we were there. So thank you, thanks for everybody for being there. As a matter of fact, I periodically have coffee with a group of folks from Bermuda Village, and they've asked me to bring those storyboards over to Bermuda Village. So I'll be doing that next month. I'll take those completed storyboards over and kind of walk them through the process over there. So they're very excited about that. And I want to thank the planning board, the council, staff, and most importantly, the residents for everything that has been done as we've been kind of shepherding this comprehensive plan update through the process. Yes, we have our first concert of the year, very exciting, this Saturday at 7 p.m. here in the town center. So please come out. It's Envision. It will cool down to, I think, 88 that day, so it will be cool. Yeah, Envision, one of my favorites of the year, so that'll be great. And we're thrilled to have Hillsdale Real Estate Group help us sponsor this, and we're looking forward to this. This is their 10th anniversary, so don't forget the Bermuda Run Farmers Market is every Friday, 3:30 to 6:30. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Ms. Finney, thank you for being here on behalf of the county commissioners. Always a pleasure to see you. And, finally, I would like to say that we will be doing something for Mr. Rollins, much to his chagrin, on June the 27th, late in the afternoon. We're planning right now 4 to 6 at Winmock. We'll be doing a drop-by, come by, gather up, tell Lee what you really think about him. It's not a drop-by, it's just a stop-by, right. But we will be doing that. We will be getting the word out. Cindy and I were talking about this a bit earlier, but we will be doing that. Like it or not, Mr. Rollins, we will be spending some time together with you, with folks from the community. So, thanks, everybody, for being here this evening. We truly appreciate the time that you spend. Look forward to these the show that we have with the cameras. Cindy I guess we'll be getting that out. We'll be letting people know how they can access the YouTube at some point in the near future. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, folks. Thanks for being here.